Hi friends, it's Velvet. I am here today with the possibility of making a signature for some interesting shaped covers that I put together. I know that you have seen these. I put them in another video. These are just things that I put together using some cardboard from like products and stuff. This one is, I use my gel plate to make this cover on tissue paper. And then I just kind of decoupaged it on. And then this is McCall's pattern that I put onto, I guess it was a box. And I kept this flap on because I thought it might be fun. So we'll see what we can do with that. But I pulled out a bunch of papers. I've got some piano paper here that I cut off. Some handmade paper that I did. It's pretty sturdy, so I think I'll be okay folding that. Just kind of a bag. It's just some lined paper, some old book page. I've got some old magazine pages that I wanted to use. And then I've got some other handmade paper in here that I thought I could use. I grabbed some Edith Holden pages. I think that these will be, well, I think this one will be a one signature book. This one has a wide enough spine that I can do two signatures in that. So I thought I would bring you along with me to do something like this yourself. So I think the first thing we've got to do is, let's work with this little guy first. I think the first thing we should do is measure this. And it looks to be 6 3/4 by about 3 3/4. Let me just redo this. No, 6 1/2. I knew I was reading that wrong. 6 1/2 by 3 3/4, which means whatever we fold into it should be, let's say 7 inches wide, because we don't want it to hang out per se. 7 would be a good starting point, and then 6 1/2 tall. But let's go with 6 1/4 tall so that we've got a little bit of leeway. Yeah, if I do 7 wide, it should be okay. So, first things first, if I were to fold this, would it be too fat? Indeed it would. So we'll need to take a little bit off of this. Let's see what we can do here. So if we were to go right to 7, I don't want to cut off all the fun stuff at the bottom. So I think I will go like that. This absolutely gets saved. And we're almost at 7. So if we would go like that. Oh, that doesn't sound like it sounded more like it was ripping than cutting. So, and I'm okay with that. So now this should fit nicely. I like when pages don't go to the top and bottom of a book. I think some of them must do that, but so that works. But I don't feel constrained to do all 6 1/4 inch pages. You know what I mean? Let's get the top cut off of here. And works. There, we've got 2. I wanted to use this somehow, but I know I'm going to have to cut it down. So why don't we go like this? Let's do it a little shorter. Just give a little space. And then, of course, this can be used. That's perfect. Okay, let's see what we can do with this. So that is a little long. I don't think my cutter will cut this, but we'll see what happens. Let's see what happens. Yeah, it's not gonna work. So, but now that I've made a couple marks in here, I can use my that could be a fun cluster piece. Yep, okay. I think we're okay folding this. It seems to be sturdy enough. Got a little bit of a tear there, but I think it's okay. All right. It's going to be a thick. I like how it's kind of, you know, rough at the edge. That's fun. Excuse me. Let's grab. Let's grab this. So I am thinking let's cut this to 6 1/4. And then we'll cut this to, what is this? 3 1/2. Let's go to, say, oops, I think my head was in the frame there. Right there, that should work. There we go. There we go. That's nice. And then we can use these for other things and putting these things aside, clusters and such. And then we've still got this we can use too. What else do we have? Oh, let's do an Edith Holden. But you know what? We need some writing space, don't we? So let's do some more paper. Let me see what I've got here. What I have sitting right next to me on my shelf. I have a paper shelf where I keep all sorts of things. I like this one. It's just a kid's drawing paper, but it's kind of a cool color. And this one too. They kind of work. They work well in a journal. Oh, I didn't use the piano paper yet either. Excuse me. It's morning. I have my morning cough. All right, so we're going to go to just under 7. And there. This is not the order I'm going to put them in. I'm just Making sure that everything fits nicely. I can make that a little bit thicker, so that's good. Just under 7. And just under 6.5. Definitely have to change this blade. Yeah, right. This way. This way. Right? Do that too tall? No, perfect. Okay, and then let's get some piano paper in here. If you ever have an opportunity to pick up some of this, you should. It's got such a rich history, and the smell is amazing. I have 2, that's why I don't feel bad about ripping one up. But then I don't really feel bad about putting stuff in journals, because the way I look at it is, it's recycling it. It's still being used. It's still being seen by people, and I love that. All right, so we want to get that in there. What if we were to do that? Is that too wide? Nope, that works good. So I can cut right here. Rolled paper is difficult. I was able to cut it off of the roll with my trimmer. But it can be, a little tricky. How much do I need to take off of here? Take off a little bit. Oh, that's not freeze-dried, is it? Let's try this. There, that's a little better. And we're going to, let's take a little bit off the bottom. See if that works. No, still a little bit. I'll take a little bit more off the bottom. I can't get this to line up. Okay. And you can write on this. So, or you could decorate it, whatever you want to do as the owner of the book. There, that's nice. This one has to be pulled down, but they're not going to stay that way anyway. That looks good, doesn't it? Just a cute little book. Do we want to put one more paper in? Let's see what I've got here. I've got some of this handmade paper. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Pull that out. This is nice. It's nice and thin, and it will fold nicely. Yes, I know I did that a weird way, but yeah, that's not going to work. To the big scissors. There. And that's okay. That adds a little texture. Is that sticking out too much? Oh, I see. It's not really even, is it? think this is as thick as we can make it, because if we're going to do any decorating, that's going to make it pretty thick. All right, so now that we've got the signature done for the, well, not done, we have all the pages that we want. Let's figure out what order we want to put them in. I do kind of like that order, but I don't want to put all of the plain paper together, so let's do that. This. Let's do that as our center. Since it can't be written on anyway, we can decorate it. I'm also trying to mix up the colors a little bit too. All right. I like it. Shall we sew it in now, or should we decorate it? Actually, I usually do the decorating after the fact, but some of these might look nice sewn. Sewn on the machine before sewing it in here. So I'm going to pause. I'm going to grab my machine and do a little bit of sewing, and then maybe we'll bind this in. Okay, I'm back. I did do some sewing. Oops. I just sewed a couple of the plain pages to add some interest. That one and that one. And then I sewed around the book, but I didn't do this side because I wanted to leave this as a little tuck there. And I think I'm going to do it like that so that this is readable. So that's how I did that. And then while I had my machine out, I decided to go around some of my other things. These are the washi tape tags that I made the other day. I actually didn't do more than a couple of these. I just did the bottom of that one for some interest. And then I made this envelope the other day. So the way this will go into a book is, let's just pretend, the flap will get glued down, and then when you flip the page, this will be like that. And that's why I kept the flap nice and large, because I just thought it looked kind of cool. And then a little tiny envelope too. I started to try and sew on this, but yeah, it's still a little too thick. But I did sew on some of the rest of the ephemera. This is a different stitch for me. And I sewed on the top of that one. Nothing on that. I didn't do anything. Oh, I did. I just did a little tiny bit in the corner there. I didn't do anything on that one. I did this interesting stitch across the top there, and just a little bit here, and then I did that one. I like the, the hanging, the hanging stuff. So let me just throw these in here. At some point I need to organize my bin of ephemera. All right. So now here's what we have. So now that I've done some sewing, I feel much more comfortable about binding this in. So I'm going to pause you for another second because I forgot I will need my binding toolbox to do this, and I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. So what I've done is I've chosen black, and the reason for that is because I think it'll stand out nicely against the pages, but also I had splattered some black on here, and I thought it might be kind of cool. So if you were with me before for my last series of videos, you will know how this works, but I'm going to take you through it anyway because I think it's always nice to have a little bit of a refresher if you haven't done this before. So in order to thread this needle, I have to take my glasses off. I don't want too big of a hole because we've just got, you know, we've got some kind of fragile papers in there, and I don't want them to rip. So there we go. All right. Now I can put my glasses back on and a sip of coffee. Oh, that is good stuff. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to use, I'm going to use one of my big clips. I bought a whole bunch more of these quilting clips because I love how they, actually I'm going to do this first. I love how they hold everything together, and they don't leave marks, and they go way deep. See how deep that goes? That is ideal, in my opinion. And we want to make sure that the center is really, really tight, so that, there we go. Just so, there we go. Is that right? Is that the way I wanted it? No, I can't remember. How did I do that? Oh, it was this way. We just want to make sure that everything is really tight there, so nothing is moving. And then I just feel like it's not as tight as I'd like it to be. Apologies. It's just, I just want this one, because there's just one signature, I need this to look kind of perfect. All right, first things first. Let's get her all out. We're going to, if you're anything like me, I don't like measuring. I think it takes up too much time. But ideally, you would take a piece of paper that's as long as this, or as tall as this book, and this would be your guide. So you would mark in a pencil or whatever marker. Oh, I had a pencil. I don't know what happened to it. Interesting. So you would just put a little mark at the, you would measure it, and we know that this is about 6.5, so, you know, you'd go 3 1/4, and then, you know, maybe an inch from the top would be about here, an inch from the bottom would be about there, and you would use this to poke your holes. And it works great. You know, it's fine. In fact, well, let's try it. Hopefully we're going right through that spine, and yes, indeed we are. And now that we've done that, let's get our first stitch in there to keep it where we want it. There we go. All right, and you want to leave enough here. In fact, what you could do is go like that. And then, so see, I was eyeballing it, and I don't know how close it is. Let's go to the top, right about here. Are we on the spine? We are. Look at that. And we're going to poke this through. This tends to be a little tricky, but we made it this time. Sometimes I'm poking around forever trying to figure out. Okay, now we're going to go back to the bottom. It's right about here. That looks a lot wider, or a lot further apart than, oh, we can take this out now. But you know what? That's okay. Who cares? I am going to make a little bit of, let's try and get it as close as we can though. And when I'm talking about that, I'm talking about the distance between these holes, just so it's a little more uniform. So you skip this middle hole, you go down to the bottom hole, We can get rid of that. So you can see how that could be helpful, right? Okay. And now we are going to come back through the middle and try not to divide your string. And I can already tell that I am not. I'm going to take this off. Okay. So what you might want to do is start to go through here. All right, I can see that I am dividing my string. Yeah, still dividing. Okay, let's get that tight here. I'm trying hard not to. Are we there? This is, I think, the trickiest hole is to come back through the middle. And that's because you're trying to avoid splitting the thread while also getting through both the cover and the signatures. All right, this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to pull it loose again and see if I can get it through this hole here without poking additional holes. There we go. Into the papers. All right, so we're through. I'm pretty sure I split that, but it's not the end of the world. All right, so what you want to do is one end on either side of this middle string, and then you're going to tie it. I always do left over right and then right over left. And I don't know why I do that. I think I saw it in a video once, and so I've just done it like that ever since. There. That looks pretty neat, huh? Not bad for me, that's for sure. And then you can cut these strings or leave them long if you might want to put some beads or something on it. I'm going to leave it long for now. And, you know, just figure out later on what I want to do with that. So, and that is everything from the kit. I will say that a one signature junk journal is so much easier than doing multiple signatures. You only have to struggle with this once, and it's pretty even, so I'm very happy with that. I love all this string hanging out. I just think that's cool. I love grungy. All right, so let's leave it at that. I may go ahead and decorate the inside. I have a couple of interviews today. Yay! For a couple of local universities doing media stuff. So I might want to stop here and go up and get prepared. I want to read up on everything. So next video, maybe we will decorate the cover here. So yeah, so have a great rest of your day and next couple of days, and I will see you soon. Thank you so much. Bye.